It may just be because I'm north of 30, but whenever you see some friends from high school or college, you kind of revert back to where you were whenever you knew those people. You haven't seen them in a while. It's like, yeah, I remember this. I remember Nick Cage movies and drinking way too much and stuff like that. And you tend to regress back to a previous version of yourself. St. Louis Cardinals were that old high school buddy who came to town in PNC Park this weekend, and the Pirates regressed back to their 2021 selves. Good morning and welcome to OffBeat here on North Shore 9, presented by FanDuel. This is a daily look at your Pittsburgh Pirates, and this is Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. Hope you're having a better weekend than the Pirates had a week here at home. It's now a 5-game losing streak, and Thursday was kind of the capper. Everything that we've talked about on this podcast on display here, and some new stuff too. They getting back into the game late. They don't come through with those big hits with runners in scoring position. They make defensive miscues. Brian Reynolds lost a ball in the sun, and yeah, that's a tough play right there. And if you want to give benefit of the doubt on that specific instance, that's fine. I will say, though, as we've said a bunch of times, this outfield defense cannot be costing their pitching this many outs, this many runs. The new wrinkle this time was Paul Skenes, who did not have a good start. It started off with him pumping 95, 96 with the fastball, and J.J. Weatherholt on the first swing of the game gives the Cardinals the lead, and they never relinquished it. Later that inning, he throws a sweeper that doesn't sweep to Jordan Walker, and he puts it in the left field bleachers. All told, 5 innings, 5 runs, 4 earned. A career-high 8 hits allowed. And if you've been paying attention to Skenes against the Cardinals, this has been the norm. Pirates are on a 5-game losing streak, so is Skenes against the Cardinals. 7 starts, 0-5. And some of that could be attributed to the offense maybe not producing in a couple tough losses, but, some of his worst outings of his big league career have been against this Cardinals team. And Don Kelly talked about it. There are some teams that just try to wait him out, that, try to get the pitch count up and, tire him out. Doesn't usually work. Cardinals just attack. They attacked. Skenes threw some flat stuff, and he got hit. And the Pirates are swept at home by a team that a lot of people projected to finish last in the NL Central. A team that's offseason was defined by jettisoning veterans and trying to get prospects into the farm system. This isn't that good of a Cardinals team. I have seen good Cardinals teams. This isn't one. I don't think they're going to finish the year above 500, but you know what? They came into Pittsburgh, and there were a couple close calls there. There was a game the Pirates threw away. There was a ball that, Nick Gonzalez, if he hit it 2% further, it's a walk-off home run. But at the end of the day, they took out Paul Skenes, the National League's bully. And now the Pirates, after what looked like such a promising April, whenever they were 16-11, and they were right in the mix of that National League Central, the best division in baseball this year so far. Instead, they finish April 500, 16-16. They finish April last in the division. And now they've got the Reds coming to town. They don't have a lot of time to lick their wounds. Because while I think that Reds team is not as strong as, say, the Cubs or the Brewers, they're still in first. They're still finding ways to win close games that the Pirates aren't. They're finding ways to get out of jams or get that one hit with runner in scoring position that the Pirates have not been doing lately. It's 5 games. This is a bona fide losing streak. I got a little pushback, I felt, whenever I said, 3 games, that was the first losing streak of the year. 5, unquestionably, is a losing streak. And it's one where they have had wins in hand. They have had their ace on the mound, ready to go at home. They have had young hitters come through, like Nick York coming off the bench on Wednesday night, that big 2-run single. Got the Pirates back in it, but then they couldn't follow through. On Monday, just that 9th inning collapse. And again, at different points in there, not being able to build up a big enough lead. They had opportunities. 5-game losing streak. This is a team that has gone from looking like, yeah, this is a playoff team, to now we're at the 20% mark of the season. They have played 32 games. They are 500. It's a talented group. We saw the additions that they have made make impacts. Brandon Lowe homered to make it a 1-run game on Thursday. There are times whenever it's like, they should be a lot better than they are. But there have been more games where, they let it slip away, and not enough games where they've kind of forced the issue and stolen one. And that's a bad combination. You got to have at least one of those two. If you're going to let games slip away, you have to create wins that you probably didn't deserve to win, but you came out with a W anyway. If you aren't going to be able to create those wins, then those games that you have in hand, you have to cross the finish line. And whenever you have your ace on the mound and he looks flat right out of the gate, he was able to give 5 innings, so it wasn't too taxing on the bullpen. But it's still a rough afternoon, a rough homestand. And there's not a lot of time for the Pirates to right the ship before they start really looking up at the rest of the teams in this division. We're going to take a quick break, throw it over to Cody for a second. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack hydration and sponsor. IQ Bar protein bars, IQ Mix hydration mixes, and IQ Joe mushroom coffees are the delicious, low-sugar, brain and body fuel you need to win your day. The Ultimate Sampler Pack is a great way for you to try all IQ Bar products and flavors. You get 9 IQ bars, 8 IQ Mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks. All IQ Bar products are clean label certified and entirely free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial ingredients. With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are fueling their lifestyles with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. The Ultimate Sampler Pack includes all 3. My personal favorites so far have been the almond butter chip and the iced tea lemonade hydration mix. It's just really full of flavor. I love starting my day with it, and I couldn't imagine starting my day with anything else other than IQ Bar products. Right now, IQ Bar is offering our podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the Ultimate Sampler Pack, plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text MLB to 64,000. That's MLB 64000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
After the game on Thursday, Don Kelly was asked about the series. He said, quote, "It was a tough series. Tough last game today. It's a tough stretch there. We got punched. We've got to find a way to punch back." So how does this team punch back? How do they find a way to snap the skid and take a couple from the first place team in the division? I mean, you look at the starting pitching first. You got Mitch Keller. You got Braxton Ashcraft. You've got ways to make this a series. They've got that opportunity. If it's not them, you have to look at the lineup. The Pirates have had 3 players finish with 20 RBIs in April for the first time in franchise history. Oneil Cruz, Brandon Lowe, Ryan O'Hearn. Those 3 have been their 3 most consistent hitters. Someone else in the lineup gets productive. That'd be a way to punch back. Whether that's Brian Reynolds, whether that's Marcell Ozuna, whether that's someone in the bottom half of the order, a Spencer Horwitz, a Konnor Griffin, Henry Davis, there are 3 or 4 people who have been consistently producing in this offense, and the rest have had spurts. They need more production. They need people in the bullpen to step up and close games. Isaac Mattson had a rare off outing on Thursday. That kind of made a game that was close into not that close. And Reynolds' play out in right field, losing the ball, did not help Mattson at all. There are ways for this team to be productive. There is a path for this team to be a good ball club. There is more talent here than we have seen in years past in the Ben Cherington era. And it's usually going to start with the guy on the mound. Okay? Skenes, Ashcraft, whoever, they're allowed to have the occasional stinker. The frustration is whenever it's in succession. Mitch Keller is going to be in a big spot. This is why he signed the largest contract in franchise history for a pitcher. That whenever they are in this spot, he could be a stopper. Braxton Ashcraft, I've said a couple times, I view him as like the number 2 of this rotation. Here's a chance for him to do that as well, to prove that he is that type of guy. It's not fair to put this all on the starting pitching, especially such a young pitching staff, but that's just how this team is constructed. That's where most of the talent is. The offense is, for the most part, producing. Are they producing against starting pitching? Not of late. But they are still putting up 5 runs. And that's all this team should need on paper. And I get, whenever you look at on paper, that's a 162 game sample size and not 5. But this Cardinals team is as wounded as I have seen. I cannot recall a Cardinals team that on paper looks less talented than this. Every Cardinal team always had, at the very least, like a Pujols, a Molina, a Wainwright, those type of guys. This team doesn't have that. I mean, Jordan Walker has had a really good start to the season, but he's not at that level. J.J. Weatherholt, a really good start to his young major league career. Not at that level. And they came into Pittsburgh, and they had control of pretty much every game this series, starting in the 9th inning of Game 1. After that 9th inning, they kind of just had the series from the rest of the way. I cannot recall offhand if the Pirates had a lead at any point this series, but off the top of my head, I cannot think of a time that they did. If they did, it was pretty insignificant, and it didn't last long. I don't think this Cardinals team is going to be competing the rest of the year. Good teams lose to bad teams sometimes. Good teams get swept by bad teams sometimes, but therein lies one big assumption. That assumes the Pirates are a good team. They have to prove that. This is adversity. It's an opportunity for them to show that they are a good club. Thank you so much for listening to Offbeat this week here on North Shore 9 presented by FanDuel. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe wherever you find a podcast, or if you want to see my smiling face in section 322 at PNC Park, go ahead and follow us on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening. Have a safe and fun weekend. We'll talk again on Monday.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.